Welcome to Demasked. My name is Fresman. Today I'm joined by very special guest, Richter Overtime. How are you today?
I'm well. What makes me a very, very special guest? Haven't you had Das Bullshit on before? He was one of my very special guests.
Well, I mean, sure, but see, I. It's hard to explain. I. Gary's Mod, like, even outside of, content creators who handle stuff within the realm of Gmod and all this, like, Gary's Mod itself holds a very special place in my heart. So whenever I see content creators making stuff surrounding either, ARGs or like Das Bullshit making, machinima about it, that sort of that's a wonderful thing to see, and it's something you see less often. You know.
Oh yeah, no, the community is certainly kind of stagnated in that regard. We don't see a lot of people popping up. It's part of why I try to encourage growth where I can. I try to find diamonds in the rough. I've recently found this guy named Ratlobber, who I think makes some phenomenal stuff, and he's really funny. So I pull these people into my Discord and shill their shit on my community posts and see if I can help them grow, which I might end up doing for you depending on how nice you are to me in this interview. So wait, what was the question? I'm sorry. It's 1 in the morning where I am.
So, I'll turn to the camera that doesn't exist. Go, Richter Overtime is a saint amongst men, and please. But in all seriousness, I actually very much enjoy your work. But I wanted
really,
to
what do you like of my quote unquote work?
Well, the thing is, while I do enjoy the channels that you've covered, like Gunslinger Pro and Badwater videos and all those, I have a hard time putting myself onto their channels and sitting down and watching the content one to one, because I'm a coward, so I don't know what's gonna I spook.
You have a hard
easily.
time watching the spooky videos. You're scared of the jump scare that's gonna pop up.
Absolutely, and so when you cover it, and I can hear you start talking over it, I'm like, okay, nothing's gonna happen here. Okay, I'm good.
So it gives you that little bit of relief. Have you watched any of my other stuff?
I've been slowly kind of pushing my way through. I did have a bone to pick with you. Not that I'm mad at you, but the timing could not have worked out worse.
Okay, let's hear it.
So you, about 2 weeks ago, you put out a video about Noam Chomsky.
Yes, sir.
And the thing is, I for the last, I want to say, a year or so, I've been trying to make a video about Noam Chomsky.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's totally fine, and it happens a lot more than I'd like to admit. It's like, man, I should make a video about this, and then everybody's like, we should also make videos on this.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to me. I make videos, and other people make the same video. It's when you've got a community so niche, people are bound to get the same idea. Just don't take it personally, is my advice.
Oh yeah, no, you bastard, no. But no, well, no, it was because of the Rocket Lab launch back in November, I believe, of 2020.
Yeah.
And I for literally from that night watching the rocket launch, I'm like, oh, I gotta make a video. I have to. But then I kept forgetting about it. I have the footage. I just need it cobbled together and then put it out there. But I just got lazy and distracted.
And then Richter Overtime beat you to the launch to
Yeah.
cover the best gnome in gaming.
Well, the thing is, I discovered I didn't see the Noam Chomsky video you made right when it came out. I saw it yesterday when I was sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I should probably go ahead and start working on that Gnome video. And then I'm like, oh, I'll put on some, because I saw you did the Survivor of All video.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. And then it recommended me the Noam Chomsky one. I'm like, son of a... No.
Oh, I see.
But
who else have you had on here other than me and Bullshit?
In terms of the Gary's Mod community?
Just generally. Any notable figures you think might impress my weak little feeble mind?
Well, are you a fan of horror movies, perchance?
I'm really not. I don't really even watch movies. I'm a freak.
Well, shoot. Well, I happen to have had David Howard Thornton on, who played Art the Clown in the film Terrifier.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's not ringing any bells to me. I'm a freak. I don't know anything. You could tell me that you had like Brad Pitt on, and I was just like, oh, that's like the guy who like has like a boat or something. That's like the extent of my knowledge about actors and movies and television.
I also had Dave Capdeville on, if you've watched Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss.
I've heard of those. I've never watched them. I'm
He's
being
one of
totally
the
honest. Like exploring like TV with me and like movies and actors, directors. It's gonna go down a dead end. You're just gonna be naming names, and I'm gonna say, no, I got no clue. Like I'm just gonna be drawing blanks.
Well, I mean, if you're open to like, do you watch or not watch, listen to like horror narrations perchance?
No, I watched The Librarian. Does that count?
I was saying, like, am I in the sub level of niches? Am I down there somewhere?
Well, I think maybe the disconnect here is you went into this thinking I was like a horror YouTuber. I just enjoy making Gmod content. That's like where my heart is. Source
Oh no,
content.
I went into this with zero predisposition that you're a horror creator. I actually like it. I mean, neither am I. I just happen to talk to a lot of horror people.
Ah, I see. I see.
And it's mainly it's the main reason I give to everybody is like why the majority of people I interview on this channel is that the people in the horror community get back to me the fastest out of anybody. But I think a new record was set by you today.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like late and I'm not doing anything, and you hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not doing anything better at the exact moment. I just put out a video. My birthday was the other day, so I'm just kind of coasting. I don't have a lot going on at the exact moment of this
Well,
recording.
happy belated birthday as of recording.
Yeah, yeah. I turned 19. Pretty crazy.
Oh god, it makes me feel so old. Oh
How
no.
old are you?
26.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I have no idea what that's like. I'll figure
Shut
it
up.
out someday.
Shut up, Richter. just shut up.
Well, did you
What?
watch the Noam Chomsky video? Did you enjoy it?
I did, and I cried the entire time. No, I I actually very much enjoyed it, and I appreciate that you also included footage of the Rocket Lab launch
Yeah.
because that's something impressive to me that humanity can come together to do something so dumb as to launch
Yeah.
a garden gnome into space.
It's uh it's a monument to Valve's childishness. I love it.
Hmm. Well,
I mean, they do stupid stuff like that all the time.
yeah.
I mean, maybe not to that scale, but you know, they've always been a goofy company. They've always had fun.
Well, if I remember, they did a charity thing on top of it. I believe it was like $1,000 per person that showed up to the stream.
Something like that, yeah. And I think Gabe did honor that donation. So
That's
hold
good.
on. What's your connection to Gary's mod?
Well, you mean in terms of content or just overall connection?
Overall, you
Oh
said you
goodness.
I piqued your interest as being a Gmod YouTuber. I want to know what stuck out to me, what might have impacted that.
So oh my god. So I got introduced to to PC gaming back when the Orange Box was getting put out there back in about, was it 2007, 2008?
Something like that. 2007, I believe, is Portal and Episode 2's release date. That checks
Mm.
out. TF2 as well.
And so right after that, I made my old Steam account, which is now defunct. I lost the password to it, that sort of thing. But then after that, after I kind of understood better how, keeping track of your password and all that, because I was, God, I was what? Oh no, I was like 12.
I see.
But I
I've got younger beginnings than that. I've been a Gmod kid for as long as I can remember.
well, so as it stands now, I'll get you an hour count real quick. Um, but I've had this same account that I have right now since about 2008 2009,
Okay.
and so I remember when, like, do you remember Icton?
Yes.
And was it DJY 1991?
Yeah.
I used to went back and watched it recently, and I think it holds up because of how silly it is. But the 100 Ways to Die in Gary's Mod series,
I vaguely recall that video. I was very young back then.
oh, it's.
I
I
mean,
feel like,
when you said Icton, I was thinking John Freeman.
oh yeah, full life consequences. Oh man, God, I feel so old. Am I gaining gray hairs as we talk? Are you pulling the life force out of me right now?
I hope not. How many hours do you have in Gmod?
So, as of today, I have 3,301 hours.
Oh, get owned.
Uh oh.
I
What
got
do you got?
8,700. I'm
That.
real about this. I'm a real Gary's Mod gamer. I mean, I've been playing this like I got a Steam account for my 5th birthday because my brother was mad that I was bugging him wanting to play Gmod and TF2 on his account. I've been playing these games since I was a baby, and I have not stopped since.
You know, it's oddly refreshing to find somebody who's beaten my number.
How many TF2 hours do you have?
Not enough is the short answer. But you know what? I'll embarrass myself. I have no shame.
That's not embarrassing. If anything, I've wasted more of my life on video games than you. Although I guess I've
Eh.
got like something decent that's come out of it, so I guess it's not a total waste.
I have 491 hours.
Get owned even harder.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got how much do I have? I have 3,200.
Oh, I. Well, so. What's.
And that's all you've got after since 2008? Pitiful. You
Hey,
should hang
man.
your head in shame.
You know what? I am, but also I didn't have access to like actual gaming computers. It was more like I'm gonna borrow my mom's laptop, and like the kind that you start up, you like load in Big City, and then you just hear the fans just.
Classic, classic. GM Big City's great. You know I did a video. GM Big City is created by a guy named Bigwig, who also made the classic map GM Atomic, and he made GM Buttes as well, if you know that map, the
Yeah.
little house in the desert. One of my
Well,
first videos was about GM Atomic, and he commented on that video, and it was a big moment for me. It was crazy.
Well, it's I like you've done one on you. If I'm staring at the video now, it's a forgotten classic. Is the title of the video?
Which one?
A GM Atomic, a forgotten
Oh,
classic.
right, yeah.
But I find it hilarious that these maps that people are like, oh, they're forgotten. They've been a mainstay of my Gary's Mod installs since day one. Like
Yeah, they're so popular that some people just think they come with the game. I believe that GM Big City is one of the no, it's the biggest, most subscribed add-on on the Gmod Workshop, and it was out before the Gmod Workshop existed. I think it was
Oh,
created
yeah.
in 2008.
I wonder if the numbers are still there on Gary'sMod.org.
Well, it's Gary'sMods.org now. They rebranded like 6 years ago. I don't even know why. They changed the layout. It's not even nostalgic anymore. It's just like a clunky website with no reason to use. Wiped all the history. Facepunch did a similar thing. I really hate when people do that with like sites of like basically gaming history. Just kind of wipe
Yeah.
it because they want to turn it into something else.
Did FPS Banana change any? I know the name changed.
FPS
to Game
Banana became Game Banana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand why they did that, and it was probably a smart move. It's just kind of funny to remember back in those days. I mean, I remember people used to use ModDB.
Yeah, I was saying I'm gonna check right now. Did ModDB change? Nope.
No,
ModDB
ModDB is still the modding database.
It's well, no. I was looking at the design. Nope. It's the same as it's ever been.
Yeah, from like 2004.
Yep. Good.
It's crazy.
Good.
It's crazy. It's stood the test of time though. People still use it to host like actual mods. Like Like I did voice acting for a Half-Life mod recently called Field Intensity, and that's hosted on ModDB.
Nice. You said intensity?
Yeah, Field Intensity, Half-Life Field Intensity. I voiced the what is it, the deuteragonist or something, the radio operator who talks to you throughout the game. His name is Kevin, and something very interesting happens to him at the end of the game. So
Nice.
if someone is a fan of me and doesn't know about that, which God bless you if you're a fan of me for some reason, go check that out. I had a lot of fun working on it, and I'm proud of it.
Good. So what pushed you towards making Gmod? Like, I understand, you played it since you were 5, but what made you want to, like, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and make videos about Garry's Mod?
Well, it's actually a funny story because it involves a feud I had with a YouTuber which I've since squashed. There's a map called DM Equilibre or something like that. It's in French. It's Equilibre. And I thought it was really interesting. It's a Half-Life 2 deathmatch map, and I approached this YouTuber who I'd been watching for a little while named Radiation Hazard. And I came to him with the video idea to talk about it, sat down and wrote like basically the bulk of a script for him for it, and he did the video, left like a shout out. He said he wanted to shout me out, but I didn't have anything to shout out, so I just made a YouTube channel really quickly. And as the days went on, he was like, "Hey man, you're really good at writing that script. You should really like do this on your own. I think you could have some luck with it." So I did, and it spiraled. I got a lot more attention than I ever thought I would really quickly. I mean, I've only been on YouTube for not even a year and a half by the time we're recording this, and I've got nearly 80,000 subscribers. It's like really, really surreal. Most of the time, if I go to talk to somebody who's got like a similar sub count to me, or maybe like a little bit higher than me, I go to their about page and their channel is from like 2008, 2012. Like they've been around for 10 years, and so it really like I try to keep humble about it, because at the end of the day, I'm just making videos about video games. It's not really like I'm doing some charitable humanitarian cause, like I'm serving some humanitarian cause, but it's just weird. I don't know where I was going with that. I didn't really have like a place to wrap that up. I just get weirded out seeing YouTubers who are like smaller than me or slightly bigger than me or equivalent in size who have been around for way longer. It kind of puts into perspective how fast my growth has been. And I'm not used to being like overwhelmed with like a positive emotion or anything like that. So it's surreal. It's not something I encounter in my life very often.
Am I overwhelming you with positive emotion? Do I need to go back and berate you somewhat?
Oh no, you're so attractive. You're overwhelming me with other emotions.
Oh. Well, so I see here you've had Das.
I hope that wasn't fucked up. I hope I'm not. I didn't make you uncomfortable with that joke.
Oh no, dude, buddy of mine. I think he'll appreciate this. Fellow of mine by the name of Weekly Creeps, horror narrator. Yeah, the conversations we have go a lot darker than that one. Yeah.
Well, where were we going with that with Das bullshit?
Oh, I see you've had him on Peer Pressure, specifically episode 4. Now, did you have the same issue I had where he had somebody claim to be him?
No, but he did have people in the comments trying to dox him, which I had to kind of help mitigate.
What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, he has like a group of people he's pissed off from some like old drama. We talked about it off camera a little bit. I don't know how much of it he actually wants me to, like, he would be comfortable with me sharing. So I probably would nip that there. But generally, I didn't have any problems with him. He was a really nice guy. He reached out after I did my video on the Mario Kart map for TF2. I left a comment on there and said, because that video has a tribute to Kideo706, if you know who that is, Colin Wyckoff, who died of leukemia back in 2016, I want to say, 2015. I think early 2016, like January. And of course, he was really close with Colin, Das Bullshit, that is. And he left a comment saying, like, just generally a very nice comment about how nice it was to review this map and associate all the memories with him. So that meant a lot to me to pull this old Gmod YouTuber to do his first like public appearance in like a couple of years, and especially for something so cool. So immediately after that, I had him on Peer Pressure, and it was a great time. He was like the first guest who I was like really proud to have on, because it was someone who I'd known who he was and admired for like 10 years.
Yeah,
And
fair
that
enough.
opened the door for having some other bigger guests on, like Uncle Dane and Ross Scott.
Well, oh my god. So I had on my Steam friends list because as a kid you know you assume everybody on the internet's telling the truth at least for a minute there.
Yeah.
And so I looked Daspo shit up on Steam and I added him to my friends list, assuming that it was the guy,
Yeah.
and asked him for an interview. And despite it not being him, he said yes.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and so on my playlist, I have a 40-minute long interview with somebody who I assumed was Daspo shit.
It just wasn't?
No, in fact, if you go listen to it, that guy doesn't answer any one of my questions.
He was just fucking with you. You got owned.
Well, like it seems like
I mean, it's fucked up, but it's kind of funny too.
oh yeah. Like I keep it up there. I haven't deleted it because I do think it's a fun like testament to just the weird shit people pull.
Yeah, yeah.
But I went back and I asked the actual Despo shit sort of the same questions, and one of them was like, how long does it take to make an episode of the Gmod Idiot Box? And the imposter goes, oh yeah, it takes a little bit, takes a while, and just kind of left it there. But then
Yeah.
I asked the actual source, the actual guy, and he's like, oh yeah, roughly couple weeks to a month, good 160 hours or so of just editing.
Mm.
I'm like, that's
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Animators really have it rough on YouTube. I think they've got it real rough. They deserve more. They deserve more payment than I do for my crappy little video essays. Pour more hours into their work, but I mean, animation always has a home on YouTube. It's just it's always been rocky.
well that I feel like most animation should be appreciated, but it seems like while it does take a shitload of work from every standpoint to do animation, there's like, well, this isn't hand animated or this is 3D animated, but then there's like Gary's Machinima, which is difficult not only through the concept that there's not really any actual animation tools from the get-go. You have to go find stuff off the workshop, like the animation helper tool and all that.
Stuff like that, yeah.
But then a lot of it is like timing and physics based, especially if you're like, oh, I'm gonna have this guy blow up, but he's got to sort of fall back in frame, or else the joke's kind of ruined.
Yeah.
It's I tried my hand at Gary's Mod Machinima, and it was rough.
I did like a Gmod Machinima shit post once, like right before New Year. I think it was called like G-Man Sick Day, and it's just like it's like a silent film, and the only noise is like a door creaking open, and I unintentionally made something kind of unnerving to watch. It was just supposed to be like G-Man, and he wakes up and he doesn't feel good, so he goes to the bathroom, he blows the toilet up, and then he like falls out of the room, and he like sends a cat to go work for him instead. And I was gonna do like a part 2 where you see the cat doing like G-Man shit, but I also like couldn't figure out what G-Man even really does other than look at Gordon from a distance, so I never made the part 2.
Well, I'm staring at your first video on your channel, specifically Jesus is Coming.
Oh, classic upload. It's crazy. That video had so many views for my first upload. It really was my first upload, like actually the first thing I uploaded. I know a lot of YouTubers like private old stuff. I don't like to do that. Like, you can check, it was uploaded the day my channel was started.
Oh god. Well, I think it's a fantastic execution because it's such just a simple like repent in this rap.
Yeah, it's not even a machinima. That was just like an improvised moment. I was just playing with my friend, Pictures in Panavision, and he just, I did that, and he thought it was funny, and he used his like shadow play thing that like You can like press it and it like records the last like 30 seconds or whatever, and he
Oh
managed to
yeah.
catch that. And he thought it was really funny. He sent me it, and I was like, I made that channel after Radiation Hazard told me to, and I was like, well, I made a channel. I got to upload something, so I posted that, and I thought it was really crazy how quickly that gained traction. I got a lucky. I got a lucky. Uh, I guess 1, 2, 3 punch with Jesus is Coming, followed by the GM Atomic video, and then the Gunslinger video, that kind of just like ballooned my sub count a lot, like very early.
Yeah. Now, pop quiz.
All right.
Favorite Gmod map all time.
Favorite Gmod map. Is there like an inhibitor? Does it have to be like a sandbox map or
Anyone you can think of.
any Gary's Mod map that I can think of? My favorite map to play on in Gary's Mod. You know, it's probably GM Atomic. I feel like it's like a Swiss Army knife. There's like a flat area where you can build. There's like a roleplay area. There's cool areas you can have cool like NPC battles on it. It's kind of like quintessential in my opinion. You can use it for roleplay. You can use it for sandbox. You can use it for anything.
Hmm. You know what? I'm actually inclined to agree with you there. Although I will say, I personally I lean more towards the like role play maps.
Yeah, well, I mean, GM Atomic was used as a roleplay map a lot. I mean, it was a Fallout inspired map. You had a lot of like Fallout RP servers that would run it because it has
Yeah.
like houses and such, so it worked.
Hmm. Well, I like Hometown 1999 where you can like have the computer store and
Oh,
the
boomer
gym and
map,
yeah.
boomer map. But it was a good map. It has its roots in Half-Life 2 Deathmatch though. It was
Mm-hmm.
part of Half-Life 2 Deathmatch roleplay. So does that even count?
It, in my heart it does.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, the thing is, like, that's actually kind of where I was first exposed to it was Half Life Two Deathmatch. But the the transition from that to Gary's Mod 9 was just like, oh, now I can do anything I want here.
Ah, so you were around for Gmod 9.
Yeah,
You know, Gmod 9 was just barely before my time. I got along for Gmod probably Gmod 10 or 11.
I I remember being like I had it, but not like so. Weirdly enough, I still have the computer. I collect things, um, but I have this old Dell desktop from like 2003,
Okay.
and it has such a hard time rendering things in the source engine that Gary's mod would up and crash if you would place an NPC on top of an explosive barrel and then blow up the barrel.
Well, explosive barrels in the source engine have always been like really jank. Like if you slam them into wooden boards, they'll explode and just kill you.
Mm.
They've always been kind of goofy. I mean, the source engine itself is jank.
Yeah, yeah.
Leaning Tower duct tape, as Ross Scott put it. I mean, it's built, kind of technically built from the Quake 2 engine.
Mm. Well, have you played like the Stanley Parable?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, the new one, or just the old one?
Both. Although there is significant differences between
Yeah,
2013 and current.
so I never owned the 2013 version, but I did play the 2011 mod for Half-Life 2 that was like really ugly
Mm.
before they like got a team together to make a good version.
Yeah.
So I played that when I was like a little baby. Like I was probably like God, I don't even think I was like 10 years old at that point. So obviously like the game is all meta. I didn't understand shit about it. But then I mean it blew up on YouTube when the new one came out, so I watched like all the YouTubers at the time play it. I think like the biggest Stanley Parable video on YouTube is by Markiplier. I probably ended up watching that. So I'm familiar with the 2013 version. I recently picked up the Ultra Deluxe. You know, I don't think you could have. I think you could find a single person on like planet Earth who would think that we would start 2022 with a new Portal game and a new Stanley Parable game.
Well, so what's funny is me. So me and my brother both grew up around the Source Engine stuff.
Yeah.
My brother is he's still in his teens right now,
Okay.
but
Like
whenever
me.
there's a piece of news, we're usually the first person to contact one another.
Yeah.
And so like I was at work and then I just looked down at my phone and all caps new portal. Like what? What happened?
Anyway, what you asked about the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, I picked it up and I streamed it. I think I got most of the new content. I think there's a couple of things I might have missed, but with a game like that, there's probably stuff that people are still going to be finding like a year from now unless someone decompiles it.
I
I was impressed with it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a nice way to honor the like original games like Legacy,
mm,
and I was a fan. I enjoyed it. It was fun to stream.
it's not Source Engine, not anymore.
It's not, but they did a good enough job, and it's not like this is a game where like the movement really mattered that much.
Oh no, like it's not even the movement. Like it's hard to describe. You know that kind of weird muscle memory that comes from playing a game with a certain type of engine for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it described that Source has like a very instant acceleration that most other engines just don't.
Mm,
Like as soon as you press W, you're already moving. Like it feels like you've already been moving.
yeah, but
It's very clicky and responsive, and like with Sandbox that's come out. You know about Sandbox?
isn't that Source Two?
Yeah, Source 2 Gary's mod. Well, it was originally built on like Unity, and well, it's technically runs on Source 2. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like Source 2 at all. It doesn't feel like Source at all.
Oh,
Because the movement doesn't feel like Source. But if you play like Half-Life Alyx with the no VR parameter,
yeah.
the movement feels like Source. Like you'll just be like, oh, I'm playing a Source game, but it like looks pretty. So I was a little disappointed to hear about Sandbox's movement feeling kind of floaty.
Mm. Well, with like the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it wasn't. How do I? It's not like I'm disappointed that I'm not being a purist about the Source Engine or anything like that. But there's a moment where you're like, and this. I mean, it came out a couple days ago, so I don't want to spoil too much for anybody at home who might have not played it yet.
Right, right.
But there's a moment where you're staring off into the distance, and the Source Engine is okay at doing like distance rendering, but for like smaller items like rocks and grass, it kind of really doesn't do that well.
Yeah.
And when you're looking into the distance and you can see rocks and grass in the distance, I'm like, this isn't Source.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot with engine access. Like, I'm sure the Stanley Parable people could have made what they were trying to do work on Source or even Source 2, but ultimately there's no real reason for them to do it. It's way easier to just go work on like a more convenient and like human friendly engine base, less
Yep.
spaghetti to untangle. So I don't blame them for making the change. Admittedly, it does lose some of its mystique. It's a little less special to me now that it's not on the Source engine, but I mean, it's still using assets from Portal 2 and Counter Strike Source. So ultimately, it's not that far of a divorce.
and and Half Life 2. There are parts of Kleiner's lab still in there somewhere.
That's interesting.
It it's yeah. The those are things that I have a hard time forgetting. I've got a photographic memory.
Hmm.
And so I'm standing around. I'm like, this is pretty neat. Is that Kleiner's desk? Like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
like the old computer props and such.
Hmm. But jeez, like I went back and tried to like compare. I have both versions of the Stanley Parable installed,
Yeah.
and like I think the main thing that I didn't really notice from the outset is that the lighting has improved just slightly.
Yeah.
Like light streaming in from the windows, bouncing off of objects, it looks a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was they wanted it to look as close to the original as they could because that's like part of the gag. I
Yeah,
mean, like you boot it up and you think like, okay, I can't wait to see the new content, and you play it and you're like, well, there's no fucking new content, and then suddenly
yeah.
a door appears that just says new content. I mean, that's the type of funny gag that like that you would want from a Stanley Parable successor, and so I think they really delivered there.
Hmm. Well, that and I don't. I wonder. Do you share the same like there's something off about that office.
Oh yeah, no, there certainly is. I mean, there's a what is it? Employee 432 who's like gone crazy, and his desk doesn't have a computer. It just has like a pencil sharpener.
well, well, no, it's I. So when you're walking down that initial hallway and you can see into those windowed offices, and you can see like a concrete hallway through a couple of them.
Oh yeah, that's where the Walking Man Easter egg is.
You, oh, so that just sent a chill down. You're gonna have to run that by me again.
What, the Walking Man Easter egg?
Yes.
So you know this might not even be real. I've never seen it in person, but I've seen like videos of it. I don't know if anything actually causes it, but it's like the Stanley model.
Yes.
Like it's like the weird like kind of like male '07 like morphed, and they like put like a new face on
Uh
it.
huh.
Yeah, so like if you
Yeah.
walk, it's not the first hallway. It's like after you take like you bust that first right, and then you're in the room where you get the bucket.
Yeah.
So if you look to the window on the right, I think there's some kind of chance where you'll see like a guy walking. Here, I'll actually pull up a link for you real quick. Maybe you
Oh.
can flash it on screen with your fancy editing tricks.
So-
Walking Man Easter egg Stanley Parable. It's actually pretty freaky.
So what you've done, the thing is,
Oh, this
Like
was in the original. This was in the actual remake, or not the remake, but the 2013 version. Take a look. It's only 13
God.
seconds.
So the problem I had. Okay, so you've done something. I I have a fear of isolation, like total isolation,
Yeah.
and so but the Stanley Parable kind of is pushing that button in the back of my brain. And the
Yeah.
thing is, it's not the fear isn't like, oh, I'm alone. It's great, now I'm alone and something's coming for me.
Yeah. Well, take a look at that clip. You can see it's just like a guy doing this like swaggy walk, and it just looks like a clone of Stanley or something.
Just gonna go ahead and turn down that audio just in case. Sometimes I don't trust people. Holy shit. Yeah, future mean editing. Can you go ahead and yeah,
What are you trying to tell yourself to do?
to put that clip in just for a second. I don't like that at all.
I mean, I think it's just like a clone of Stanley. I think they were doing like some kind of meta joke about all the different Stanleys.
One of the permutations of him walking around.
Yeah, that's like what I was imagining it as. Some people think it might have like other lore implications. The thing with a game like the Stanley Parable is it's kind of hard to nail it down. I mean, the Ultra Deluxe is meta about the game itself. The original game is meta about games. And then the Ultra Deluxe is meta about the success of the game about games. It's like on a level that becomes like it becomes like nearly indigestible at a certain point when you lay it on that thick, but that's part of what makes it so enjoyable.
Well, the certain moment that you have with a certain button, a bright yellow button with an arrow on it,
Yeah?
and you're in that room, I okay, it's a testament to how they write both the narrator's dialogue and how the atmosphere is set up, because no scary movie, no horror game has ever made me that physically uncomfortable.
Wait, which button?
When you're pressing the skip button.
The skip button.
You haven't gotten there yet?
The skip button. Yeah, okay, no. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In the room, the skip button and like every time you click it, it's like goes forward in time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that part is kind of freaky.
well, like, especially with my fear of being alone, there's a moment where, like, the narrator just kind of stops talking to you,
Yeah.
and he just goes quiet, and I legitimately, like, what I would do was, like, I'd hit the button, the narrator would start talking, and I'd kind of do, like, a lap around the room just to see if anything changed.
Yeah.
And then the minute you stop talking, I'm like, fuck this, and I'm like hitting the button. I'm like, no, get me out of here, please. But
What else is
Oh,
going on in the community right now within the Stanley Parable? Uh, hmm.
what's up?
I'm trying to think of what else is going on in the Valve community at the moment. It might be fun to talk about.
Well, I mean, I know there's the headache that's been going on a little bit with like TF2.
Oh yeah, well I mean it's been talked to death. I mean the game's fucked up. Not a lot the community can do, and it's a shame because it's a good game. Everyone involved with TF2 wants to see it succeed. No one just
Hmm.
wants to, just no one wants to work on it.
Yeah. Well, like I have a question for you.
What's the question, Fresman?
So when Mark Laidlaw left Valve and put out Epistle 3,
Yeah,
I how do you think that fits as an ending?
I think it's one of the drafts. I mean, ultimately, Mark was never totally in charge of the story. He was the lead writer, but I mean, ultimately, it was still like a sort of the. He was the backbone, but he wasn't the only cog in the machine there. And so I
Mm,
think what he did there is he said, okay, I'm going to retire, but this is like doomsday for Half Life fans if I retire.
mm,
So I'll give them something. And so I don't know whether he really intended that to be the ending.
sure.
I think ultimately it was just something he wanted to get off his chest.
Mm.
And it probably was the plot to a Half Life 3 that was in development at some point. But, I mean, we've seen with Half Life Alyx that that's not the case anymore. So,
Or it almost feels like that sort of the part of the ending of episode 3 sort of has happened earlier than it should or than it would
maybe. I
have.
mean, it's kind of hard to know how they would pace the series based on like a document that's basically just explaining the story of a game that we never got. You know, it's
Oh
hard to
yeah.
tell how they would execute any of that.
Oh yeah, no, but what I meant was the G-Man taking Alex,
Yeah, yeah,
cuz that was part of the Epistle 3 document.
yeah, yeah. It's certainly interesting. It makes you wonder how long they've had the ideas from Half Life Alyx in their head. I mean, they say that it was like kind of brought up, but I don't think that's the case at all. Sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder if Gabe Newell feels bad about the ending of episode 2 since he's the one who kind of made it happen.
Mm.
Do you know about that?
Oh, did he was he the one who killed Eli?
So you know how Portal 2 ends with like Wheatley in the space core in space?
Yeah.
So episode 2 was going to end like really similar to that. It was going to be like a shot of like Lamar in space, like the head
Mm.
crab, Kleiner's pet head crab that was in the rocket, like in the rocket in space.
Mm.
And the story that I've been told is that they took this ending up to Gabe. They're like, "Look, we've got an ending for the game. What do you think?" And they all thought it was really cutesy and funny and a cool way to end off on that note. You know, like a comedic ending. And they were really excited to show it to him. And he was just
Sort of
totally
hopeful.
unimpressed, and looked at them and said, "Kill someone." So I wonder if that story's true, which I don't even know the source of it really. It might just be like an urban legend, but it's if that's true, I wonder if he regrets that because it like landlocked the story for a long time.
Well, that kind of reminds me of the story of Gwen Stacy dying off in the Spider-Man comics.
Ah, I'm not
Have you heard?
familiar.
Oh my goodness. So apparently the original storyline where Gwen Stacy dies, I believe it was in the 70s, 80s run of the Amazing Spider-Man, was technically an accident.
Yeah.
Well, the writers were like, okay, we have this idea, and we're gonna take it up to Stan Lee. And go to his office and like, hey, so for this next issue, we want to kill Gwen Stacy. And according to Stan, he was getting ready for a convention at the time, so he was getting all this stuff packed and throwing shit into his briefcase, and he just kind of wasn't paying attention, and he just kind of goes, "Yeah, sure, run it, go."
Mm.
And so he leaves for a week, and he comes back, and he's got the new issue of the Amazing Spider-Man on his desk, and he's proofreading it, and he gets to the last panel where Spider-Man's holding a dead Gwen Stacy in his arms, and he goes, what the hell? And he runs down to the the writers and he goes, what? I didn't say clear this. I didn't clear this. And the writers are like, yes, yeah, you did. You told us we could do it. And so they just decided to go with it. But
Yeah,
I don't,
that's a strange story.
I don't know. Do you think when Gabe N told them to kill somebody, did he mean in game or like one of the developers?
Oh no, he was just so mad at this. He's like, this is fucking stupid. Which one of you did this? One of you is dying today.
Grabbed a knife out of his knife collection.
It's
You.
like, I've got connections. I'm a billionaire.
Pull the literal band hammer off of the wall.
Oh yeah.
I just
Well, any other source adjacent questions? Because I honestly, my area of expertise ends at source. It's like all I know.
I was say, are you getting tired of me already?
No, I am getting tired. That's because it's 1 a.m, but
Yeah.
it's unrelated.
Fair. Totally unrelated as you're like checking your watch. Gosh, still going. Well, all right. How do you feel about Ricochet?
uh, I don't think I've ever played it in like a real setting. Like I don't know if I've played enough to make a proper take on it. It's it's funny. Like it's funny that there's just this weird old obscure Valve game that no one plays, and that Valve has even joked about being obscure. Like that like Ricochet 2 Electric Boogaloo announcement.
I think if I ever got the chance to go to Valve headquarters, which sucks because if I recall, a couple days ago I was actually in that town.
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or excuse me, more specifically Bellevue, which is like west of Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. I've
But
never been up to Washington. I'd love to get a Valve tour someday.
I feel like that's all I would ask is just dumb questions. But excuse me. Oh my god. Just a sec. Excuse me. I inhaled a bunch of my own hair. Great.
Oh, that's excellent.
Oh yeah. Really wakes you up. But I think I just ask specifically about their most just unpopular games.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the problem is that like most of Valve's games that are unpopular aren't unpopular because they were bad, but just because they got overshadowed by other releases at the time.
Mm.
Like a good example is Day of Defeat. Day of Defeat's a lot of fun, but like
Oh
it,
yeah.
it got owned by Call of Duty, and it's like a wrap.
Well, the original Day of Defeat is like I so usually whenever I go in to play a game, I'll ask a non how do I word it? A non-aggressive question, but I will always get aggressive answers.
Yeah.
Like I'll enter a TF2 lobby and I'm like, "Hey, how's everybody's day going?" And it's usually met by "fuck you." It's like, "Oh, okay, wow."
Well, it's just like gaming like gaming in general.
Oh yeah. But then I went back and played not Day of Defeat Source, but Day of Defeat, and I I think it was like Argitan or somewhere, and I'm like, "Hey, how's everybody's day going?" And I got genuine answers like, "Yeah, it's going pretty good. How's your day?" I'm like, "Wait, nobody's mad. What's going on here?"
They're older. They don't they don't have time to be goofing around no more. I guess they don't have time to be
No
being
time
assholes
for
on the
anger.
microphone. No time for anger. They got their anger. Their anger isn't directed at random kids playing games. It's directed at the government.
It's directed at everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Well,
I don't know. Is there anything else you really wanted me to answer or talk about?
well.
Your show is called Demasked. I feel like you haven't demasked me at all.
Well, sure. Like I'll ask you questions, but I also respect kayfabe. I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, what do you look like? Where do you live? What's your real name?" You know,
True,
that sort of thing.
true.
Like as a masked man on the internet, you gotta respect the mask that anybody else is wearing.
It's true, it's true. Well, then maybe it was like a bad choice of a name.
What, the show or Fresmond?
The show, it's called Demasked.
Well,
I mean,
that's
it's
the
a
thing.
good name.
Well, I mean, the whole point's just to get to know you better. It's just to talk to you, just to see what you're like when you're not reading from a script, unless you are reading from a script.
No, no, actually, this is all scripted. This is actually a prank on the entire viewer base. Get
Gotcha,
fooled, get fooled.
gotcha, party people. I
Yeah.
should mention I don't script this show on purpose.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've got no like I used to
No
have like
questions, no nothing in mind.
yeah, it's this is all freehand. I don't even have like bullet points. I used to try to do bullet points, but it's hard to shoehorn in the question
Hmm. Well,
because
anything to ask me about, like, Gmod or, like, content creation or anything like that is, like, probably where
I,
I would like to spill more beans, but
maybe.
if you're happy with the current arrangement, then we can call it quits whenever you feel comfortable with that.
Well, actually, there's something that has come to mind whenever I watch your videos, and
All right.
I've tried my hand at script writing before,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't seem to nail it down. Not in terms of pacing, but in terms of structure.
Yeah, structure is kind of hard to. You want to tell a story with like a fun beginning and like a satisfying end,
Mm.
and a lot of my videos don't really follow that. I just kind of you have to end with a conclusion at the very least, and that's like basically all that I do.
Well, so where does the research process on that even start?
It depends on the type of video. I mean, for most of the time when I'm doing just like video essays about games, it's just like pretty simple. You research whatever the topic is given at hand. You look up the details, see what you might have missed. With me, it's usually about stuff I'm already really familiar with, so I have like a solid knowledge base to go off of, and I'll, jot down an idea, and then like if I like the idea, I'll start adding bullet points to it of information I can talk about, and then sooner or later, if it's a video that I really want to do and my passion grows for it, those bullet points become paragraphs. So, and from there, it's just a matter of sorting it and putting it in the right order, and then writing an intro and an outro. Kind of like a middle school essay writing tier is what I do. I don't know how I got such a big audience off of it.
So how long was the script on Jesus is coming? Was that like a 50 or 70 page?
That see, I'd actually been working on that video like my entire life leading up until that point. So it was very special to me when it broke 800,000 views.
And then you did the sequel, Jesus is Coming Again.
Yeah, that was a redux, a reanimation that I had my buddy, what's his name? The Creative Box did that. And I thought that was just like a really funny thing to upload for the video's 1 year anniversary.
My buddy, that guy, that yeah.
What?
Well, well, so like, what's the like you have like why Counter Strike source could be free and GM Atomics, but how where does the research sort of begin on like videos about like Gunslinger and Badwater? Do you just watch the videos all the way through, or do you kind of go one video at a time, write a bit, kind of
I mean,
piecemeal?
usually with these types of videos, you can kind of like watch them and get a feel for what's going on, and then it's a matter of like jotting down all the little details. I mean, it's really not rocket science. Most of it's like pretty surface entry horror. There's not a lot of nuance to it in most regards.
Mm,
Most of the like popularity of it comes from the fact that it's like novel of being like Gmod horror, right? So
mm,
the stories, especially for these, let's be real, they're pretty popular with like the younger crowds.
mm.
So it's the better that I can just mush it down and make it as accessible as possible. I think that's what people want, and it's the case with all horror. Like Night Mind used to do the same thing. All those old like horror ARG channels, they just play the video and they say, "Hey, this is what's going on in this
Mm.
video, and here's what I think the theory is as to what's going on." So I guess technically, I didn't really create anything super special regarding that format. It's been done to death, but I don't know. I like to think that I did something interesting in at least like uncovering like the Gmod ARG scene for the most part, or not the scene itself, but I like I think I've done a lot to stimulate it and bring a lot of attention to it and get the creative juices rolling with a lot of those people, and it's something I'm kind of proud of.
And that, and for people like me who are kind of wary of horror content, at least when it comes to like jump scares, that sort of thing.
Right, right. Well, I don't think I've covered anything that has a jump scare.
I think it was one of Bad Waters that had like a small thing that like rushed the camera or something like that. But
Mm.
but when you what's it called? It's the same way that it much like Night Mind, where it's taking a larger story or a series or channel full of videos and sort of creating a digestible version of that you can fully understand just from like I'm looking at Survivor of All in a 22-minute video. I have a decent idea of what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I mean, and that comes with the own like accusations of like, you're diluting the process, you're like killing the group, and you know what? Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe I am killing Gmod ARGs, but it's not like I set out to do it. I made my gunslinger video when I had like 200 subs. I never thought that was gonna do well.
Mm.
So
Well, I
maybe I
mean,
do. Maybe I am hurting the scene. I have no way to know. It's not like I was a big YouTuber and then I preyed on a small community. I was part of the community and then that community exploded, and I had no
see
way to predict that.
see what you do is you crest 1 million subs and then you turn around and you start punching down. It's like Uncle Dane sucks. you
Oh
just
no, but Dane's great. Dane came on the show and he was a real friendly, polite guy, and we had a lot of good conversation.
You heard it here, folks. You hear? Oh my God! Why am I? Am I all right? But I was gonna say you heard it here first, folks. Uncle Dane sucks. Quote
Man.
quote quit Richter overtime as of May 3rd, 2022.
Ugh. Well, anything else you want to wrap up other than saying that Uncle Dane sucks? It's obviously a pretty solid note to end on,
Yeah,
if I do say so. But I don't want to leave a bad impression. If you've still
it,
got more you want to know,
if it, you know what? If I ever have Uncle Dane on, I'll just,
tell him to
that
say Richter overtime sucks.
or just, hey, Richter said you sucked. Well, what's that about? Can you tell me more about that?
He's like, I don't know. I gave that kid a shot. I thought he was cool. I showed up on his stupid little podcast and I did the talk. Yeah, I don't know. Dane was cool though. He was a good guy.
Well, so if you could leave this interview with a piece of advice for anybody out there who feels like they want to make their own Gmod ARG, what should they avoid?
Just do your own thing and respect what people want. I mean, my ultimate advice is, if you want to have a creative outlet that gets noticed, it's probably better to do something different than a Gmod ARG. I'm gonna be honest. You should probably spend that into like an actual like skill or hobby. But if you want to make something cool, if you want to get noticed by the Richter Overtime, then don't make it about living ragdolls. Don't make it about a scary black figure. And be unique. Be creative. Don't just copy someone else's stuff. It's ultimately like the rules that I would give to anyone about making anything. Just be unique. Don't just copy what's popular.
If you want Mr. Richter Overtime to look down from his ivory tower on you peasants, do something original.
I don't know about all that, but hey, it was really good coming on and having this quick little chat.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It was a great time. I think this is the first time I've ever been interviewed by anybody, so
Nice.
rather flattering experience for
Yeah.
moi.
And I've been kicking back and forth the idea of like well, the thing is, a lot of times you don't know if anybody's going to ever answer you when you ask for an interview.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fast with it. I monitor everything closely.
Now, before we get out of here, I've got one last question, a very simple question. Then we'll
Okay.
get out of here. Would you be open to becoming back as a return guest?
Maybe. I mean, if something changes, I don't want to just do like a rerun where you asked, the Gmod ARG question and blah, 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 and ask all
Is
the
that
same
what-
questions and bore everyone to death.
Is that what I sound
Where I
like?
just no. Really, that's like more me imitating what I would sound like answering it. Like, I do the Gmod ARG video. Ho, ho, ho. It's like me for the 40th time every day.
See, that's why this show's built like that, because I like to avoid that.
Thanks for having me on. It was a blast. I wish you all the well with your show, Mr. Fresman.
Thank you.
I had a great
And
time. Thanks for having me. It was a great fun time. I'm just like a broken record. This because I'm tired.
it's good. It's good. It's real good.
It's good. It's
But
good. I had a great time. Thanks. It was good. It was good, my friend. Thanks. Like,
but but with that, Richter, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an absolute blast.
hey,
And
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And no problem. If
and
anyone else wants to have me come on their show so I can feel like a little celebrity, I'll gladly do it.
and wonderful party people at home, please go check out Richter Overtime. I'm a,
Shut up. Go check out Fresman.
but they're already here if they're watching the show.
Check out more. Check out more.
Watch it, all of it. but do you have a video that you're particularly fond of, Richter, that you'd like to see in the description of this video?
I think I'm fine with just reminding everybody of Jesus is coming. I think that's that's a funny enough note.
Yeah, I think that'll be the one.
All right, well then is that all?
I believe so. And with
Well,
that,
that's all, folks.
but with that, this has been Demasked. My name is Fresman, and I'll see all of you next time.
Adios.